Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel as well. This is Pro Wrestling Logic, and we are going to talk about, look at the AEW Elevation show for the 29th, of March 2021. I love the AEW Elevation concept. I think Paul White is really doing well commentary-wise for the level of experience he has. I think he's better than Excalibur, and he's only on week 3. That being said, there's no reason for this show to be 2 hours. That being said, the biggest drawback I think that I see in Tony Khan is he gives too many opportunities to too many people, and this show bears it out. That being said as well, honestly, I think that in comparison, I watched Raw just before I finished watching this, and without a doubt, this show is, even with the number of squash matches, better than Raw most weeks. And this close to WrestleMania, this is by far the lowest point I've ever seen WWE in my 32 years as a fan. So, we go to Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor defeating Ryan Nemeth and J.D. Drake in just under 7 minutes. The new theme song for Cassidy, I think, should have debuted on Dynamite. It's kind of something you could unveil, designed to give Cassidy and Taylor a little bit of shine before the Arcade Anarchy junk that's going to be on Dynamite going forward. I'm not a fan of that, simply because, honestly, I don't think that Miro is being used properly. I wouldn't even have Kip Sabian or Chuck Taylor on my roster. I think Miro has redeeming quality. I think Cassidy has redeeming quality, but the other two can go. And this was taped before Dynamite last Wednesday. Crowd energy is higher than most. Cassidy basically does his, lazy, undermotivated gimmick here. He sends the message that, basically he's extra under-inspired right now. Who knows? Anyway, Cassidy he gets a cutter on Drake and hits him with a spinning DDT near fall there. Orange punch and beach break on Drake finishes it. Kip Sabian, Miro, and Penelope Ford cut a promo on Cassidy and Taylor. Miro and Sabin come back and jump Cassidy and Taylor ahead of their match on Wednesday. They did not make me want to see the match on Wednesday. Not that I was going to anyway, but yeah, they did less than normal. So Jon Moxley here on this show against Bill Collar. Collar has been in nearly a decade and a half. Made his AEW debut in the match. Moxley nails him with a pile driver and won with a bulldog choke. And this is his 30th victory in AEW. I mean, to think he's been there for over a year and only had 30 matches, or just over 30 matches, kind of ironic. Cody Rhodes comes out, arm in a swing. He awards the Nightmare Weight Belt to a young fan from a boys and girls club. This isn't necessary. If I were to do that, I'd do it on Dynamite so the maximum number of people see it. Also, Moxley's match here doesn't need to be over 5 minutes. You can get the same effect in half the time. Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian, who I still don't get the benefit of her at all, or him for that matter. Defeat Lila Gray in 3.5 minutes. I guess they're trying to build up Ford. I don't see it. She reminds me of looking like Trish Stratus with maybe 1/10 of the talent when Stratus starts out. Apparently they're trying to build her. Maybe she gets to push on Dynamite sooner or later. Ford, she runs the ropes and slingshots over them, drops knees on them. I don't know that I necessarily like that. She dominates. Ford makes, or Gray makes a brief comeback. Ford nails her with a spinning kick and the juice box for the win. Meh, nothing to write home about here. Speaking of nothing to write home about, Gun Club defeats Rex Lawless and Milk Chocolate. I think the Gun Club thing is fine, but I don't know that we need to see them as often as we do, and them in squash matches does nothing for me. Milk Chocolate, I guess, is a tag team of Brandon Summers and Brandon Watts. They have basically been teaming for 7 years. This might be their AEW debut. Billy Gunn being part of this is unnecessary. Austin gets beat up for a while. Colton gets the hot tag, hits the 310 to Yuma. It's fine. I mean, there's nothing here to write home about. Speaking of nothing to write home about, and this is hard because so far there's nothing been on the show that I've really, really enjoyed. And AEW is my preferred U.S. promotion right now, so that kind of tells you where wrestling truly is. It is my hope to get, within the next few years, some financing to run a independent promotion that does things the opposite of the way the national companies do them. But who knows with financing and all that good stuff. Anyway, Alex Marvez interviews Thunderosa about her main event with Britt Baker a few weeks ago. Because of course he would, because they can't just let the main event go now that the feud is over. Rosa talks about empowerment and representing Latina women. Diamante, who was never identified by anyone, doesn't want to be represented by her. You don't even go here. I don't know. It's just, it's dead. Speaking of dead, Joey Janela, the single most unneeded person in all of AEW, maybe all of professional, no, not all of professional wrestling, all of professional wrestling national companies in the U.S. anyway, defeats Chandler Hopkins in just over 7 minutes, almost 7.25 minutes. Hopkins does a swan drive plancha. They have awkward moments where Janela, who doesn't know how to improvise to save his life, waits for the guy to set up a kick. Spanish fly and a frog splash. Gets 2 count. Shooting star press. Janela gets his knees up. Too many big moves. Falcon Arrow. And then only gets 2. Anyway, suplex attempt into a Death Valley driver from Janela. He nails Hopkins, and Schiavone calls it a Canadian destroyer. And there are people that are all over, Schiavone doesn't know the name of half the moves. Do the names of the moves sell tickets? Do the names of the moves sell pay-per-views? Do the names of the moves matter to anyone who isn't on the internet? Most likely not. So, when a guy slips up a move name here and there, it really doesn't matter, except for the 10% of wrestling fans that are on the internet. And I don't, move names don't matter nearly as much as telling stories, and I don't understand how there are fans who don't understand this, but they seem to be growing. Anyway, suplex attempts into a Death Valley driver. It was, I guess, Janela's biggest move, and of course he wins with the top rope elbow. Dasha interviews Jack Evans, calling Jungle Boy Jungle Dork, and Angelico danced with no music in the background. Both of these guys, well, I like Angelico, he's got a unique style, but Jack Evans could go. Eminem as a talent just doesn't really work here. Like, it doesn't even make sense for him to be where he is with this. Like, it doesn't, I don't get it, and I don't think anyone else does either, to be completely honest. Anyway, Thunderosa defeats Alex Garcia. Rosa is her name, I guess, because apparently she's a social worker at a place called Thunder Road. Anyway, Garcia is green and she's kind of lost. Fire Thunder Driver gets Rosa the win. And Layla Hirsch defeats Viperous in just under 3.5 minutes. Viperous works over the arm. Hirsch is coming back with some German suplexes and gets a cross armbreaker submission victory. Frankie Kazarian defeats Danny Limelight. One of the better shows for Limelight in general. That being said, it doesn't need to be 8.5 minutes. Kazarian's 10-0 record in 2021. He has a match with Christian Cage on Dynamite tomorrow, which should be pretty decent. Limelight walks the ropes in an amazing way. He makes it look effortless. Kazarian gets a near fall with an electric chair drop into a bridge. Kazarian catches Limelight coming off the ropes into a crossface chicken wing. And Limelight taps. I don't know. Does this really need to happen with Kazarian having the match on Dynamite tomorrow? I don't think so. Kazarian didn't look great. Limelight is a good talent, but it shouldn't take this long for a guy like Kazarian with almost 20 years experience to beat him. Ethan Page defeats Fuego del Sol, another one where the match went too long. Del Sol in almost 5.5 minutes gets defeated by Ethan Page. Apparently, Del Sol is Alabama's top luchador. Page shrugs off a tornado DDT, dominates the match. Del Sol makes a comeback, tries a second tornado DDT, gets caught in the ropes. Backbreaker by Page using the turnbuckles. And Page finishes with the almost modified Razor's Edge for the win. I love Ethan Page. I'm glad to see him in a growing promotion. I don't think they need to give him almost 5.5 minutes in a squash match, though. Women's champion Hikaru Shida and Tay Conti defeat Jasmine Allure and Tasha Price. Dark Order come out on the stage to show support for Conti. Conti's the number one contender, and Shida is women's champion. Interesting that they would have them two team. They work together well as a team. Judo throws and triangle chokes on their opponents. Conti finishes Price hammerlock DDT. Jungle Boy with Luchasaurus and Marco Stunts defeat Jack Evans in 8 minutes 13 seconds. Why in the world does this match need 8.25 minutes? Jungle Boy has wrestled 62 matches apparently now in AEW, most matches in the entire promotion. Counters an armbar into a sit-out powerbomb and then nails a really big lariat. Evans misses a moonsault and gets caught with a German suplex near fall. Evans comes back with the Northern Lights that he shouldn't have been able to do on a guy that much bigger than him, and then goes for and hits a Michinoku driver. Evans comes back with a drop kick. Jungle Boy evades and catches the leg and locks in a snare trap for the win. Lee Johnson and QT Marshall, Adam Priest and Aaron Fry in just under 3 minutes. Again, why is this here? Marshall and Johnston is fine, I guess, as a team. And Marshall gets a cutter on Priest for the win. Ryo Mizunami defeats Kylan King. I'm not a fan of... Well, I like Kylan King. I think they have something there. The Mizunami thing doesn't make sense to me. She was here for a while. You're just putting her in matches to put her in matches because she's in the States. I don't agree with that. Anyway, bunch of red hair. Mizunami puts sunglasses on the referee, who happens to be Bryce Rensburg. King has a height advantage and makes fun of her opponent. Test of strength offered. Mizunami kicks her in the gut. Uranagi in a spear, finishing King off with a leg drop off the top. They shake hands for no good reason after the match. Dark Order 5 and 10, does that make 15? Defeat D3 and Barry Morales at just under 4 minutes. D3 gets hit with a spine buster and follows up with a pump kick. Gets a submission with a full Nelson. It was fine. But honestly, the Dark Order thing is passe, and these squash matches, there are too many of them. Dasha interviews Ethan Page locker room. He basically says he's being overlooked and overvalued. Anyway, Private Party with Matt Hardy defeats Bear Country in 8 minutes. Why they are given 8 minutes in a match that could have been done in 4, I have no idea. Hardy tries to interfere. Stunt runs in to break it up. Bear Country. Confusion. Bronson gets rolled up by Mark Quinn, who holds the tights for the win. Apparently they're going further with the heel stick than before. Bear Country goes after Stunt post-match. Jurassic Express comes out. Save him. Pull apart brawl. Broken up by the referees. Final match. Scorpio Sky defeats Mike Seidel in 6.5 minutes. 16th match on the show. There's no reason to have that many matches on a show. Mike is older than Matt. He started later in the sport. Sky clips Seidel's knee. Gets a submission with a knee bar. Keeps the hold on post bell. Matt runs in, breaks it up. Ethan Page runs out and attacks Matt post match. This could be good for, I guess, maybe giving Page and Matt Seidel something to do. And I guess Page and Scorpio Sky have formed some form of alliance. I love AEW. They are fast losing what makes them unique by doing too much with too many people. But that's national wrestling these days. Wrestling as an art form is dead, if not dying, and overbooking is one of the reasons behind it. But you can only do what you can do. We'll be back with the Raw report. Might be back with some Smoky Mountain tonight too, depending on what my overnight looks like. But until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.